when I went away, I had no authority. And you know how many devotees had joined between the time they started with like 5 devotees in that house?
Yeah.
That had learned from Rupanuga. And you know how many devotees there were when I left?
How many?
About 30.
And that was in how long? A year?
No,
6
about
months?
more like 2 months.
2 months, yeah.
2 months.
What? I didn't have 6 months. I had to go to Buffalo and do the same thing.
Oh, you said 2 months.
Yeah, 2 months.
So what about Rupanuga?
Maybe 2.5 months.
Rupanuga was there?
No, he was
Oh.
in Buffalo.
Oh,
This is Detroit.
well, you
know
mentioned
who-
his name, something about Rupanuga.
I trained up the guy that was the temple president in Detroit, 100% paka training.
Huh.
Do you know who that was?
Bhagavan, no.
Huh?
Bhagavan.
Who,
Yeah.
Bhagavan? Ronald Singh, Ramachandra said Bhagavan.
No, nowhere close.
Nowhere close,
Sorry.
Ronald.
Like a odd duck in New York.
Bhavananda.
Anyway, the point of your conversation is that you set it all up. It's like you sponsored it, you trained them, and then you were out of there. They were in control of it themselves. You weren't trying to lord it over.
No,
You weren't claiming that it was your temple.
or I had any authority over it, or I could control it, or get any money from it, or be worshipped by anybody in it.
Yeah.
No, I just set it up. It became autonomous. It became a huge temple. So I cast it's sort of like when you're in the forest and you don't have any matches. You take a piece of steel and a piece of flint and click them together and start some moss burning. And
Right.
next thing you know, a fire. Next thing you know, you can have a nice big fire. Then you leave. I got that all started.
Nice. How's the battery doing?
It's good, don't worry.
So anyhow, so that's what happened there. I'm only giving that example not to puff myself up, but to say that's what a GBC was supposed to do.
Oh, yeah, I know.
You know, you get a storefront, some guy's in a storefront saying, I don't know what to do next. But I registered myself as Iskcon. Now what do? You go there, you chant with him, you go out on Sankirtan with him, and you
Right.
get a bunch of devotees to move in. And then you start the, you know, the temples almost started with Prabhupada started the temples with 2 days of public, Wednesday and Sunday. Wednesday, he would give a lecture and distribute some small prasadam like fruit or something and read from books like Bhagavad Gita.
Prabhupada would?
On Sunday, there would be the vestiges of a feast, which gradually turned into a feast. And as people came for the feast, people wanted to join, particularly women, and they would start cooking for the feast.
So now you're talking about Prabhupada was only present 2 days a week?
In the first months of Iskcon, yes.
Prabhupada was busy translating. He would come out just Wednesday and Sunday.
No, he was, I don't know what he was doing, but he just didn't, he was just there in his apartment, you know. And then we had 26 Second Avenue. I never saw Prabhupada there. I visited 26 Second Avenue, matchless gifts, but anyhow, but what he did was he had these classes, and then people started coming and moving in. And Prabhupada would be sleeping on the floor of the 26 Second Avenue storefront. And then a bunch of other people began to come in. When that happened, then they got him an apartment in the same building, just behind the 26 Second Avenue. You go up to the second floor, turn right, and you go into a 1-bedroom apartment. Very, very nice, quiet, dark apartment.
You recording this? Yeah. Yeah, that's good. They made room for the new bhaktas.
Yeah, and so then the new bhaktas would be there, and then the householders would have apartments, and they would come, and then people, who was a householder? It was like Jamuna, Malati,
Huh.
not Malati, Jamuna. and her sister. And they were married to Gurdas and stuff like that, And so they created that, and Jamuna immediately wanted to cook. They picked up cooking from Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah, Jamuna, right.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, I'm giving the example how Prabhupada started temples 2 days a week and then 7 days a week after a period of time, whatever it took to make it happen. And then, so that was what we're supposed to do. We go to storefront with 2 or 3 devotees in it, completely lost and bewildered. And we'd help them set up how to cook, how to do the classes, how to read from books, how to play mridangas, etc. Except, essentially back in those days, John, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Back in those days, what would happen is that a devotee would come and join the temple, take initiation. He would learn to play mridanga, learn to play kartals, learn to play harmonium, learn how to cook. And then he took Brahmin initiation after 6 months. And then after about 8 months or at most a year, they'd say, what are you still doing here? You're supposed to go out and open a temple. So you go and open a temple like the one in Santa Barbara. The one in Santa Barbara started from my ancestral home. You know that, right?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Then enough to Rabari Nandan was staying up at your mom's,
Yes.
and then they got the apartment out in Ala Vista.
And in those 6 months, my mom observed a strict vegetarian diet. She only ate what they cooked.
Huh. Then they moved out to Ala Vista by the college and had an apartment.
Yeah. Well, then they were out on Anapamu Street also, I believe. Before
Where?
that. Anapamu Street.
Not Victoria Street.
I don't think so. Was it Victoria?
When I moved in, they just got the house on Victoria, which is just up from Anapamu, a block.
Well, depends how long it was. They moved around a lot.
Anyway, the point is that the devotees would go out and open temples.
Yes. And after a short period of time, it wasn't like you had to be there. I met one devotee many years ago, like decades ago. I met a devotee that was lamenting that he felt he wasn't doing enough. And I said, well, why don't you go open a temple? He said, I don't know. I don't know enough. I'm not qualified. How could I open a temple? I said, well, how many years have you been in Iskcon? He said about 10 years. I said, 10
hold on
years.
a second.
1 year, after 1 year in the early days, you could go out and open a temple. Sudama did in Japan, where these black homosexual.
Yeah, I know Sudama.
Is white. God is.
Chintamani Mataji.
And they opened a temple that's still there.
Okay,
No,
hello.
that's not here.
Hello.
Hello?
Tina Marie Kerner is waiting to be let into the chat. So Ramachandra, can you let her in?
Oh, she's coming in. It's taking a while for her to join. She's in now.
Yeah.
There you go. There's Tina.
Yeah.
I'm from New Zealand, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Panchali.
Jai, Haribol.
In New Zealand, huh?
Yeah.
Please accept my most humble obeisances.
Right.
And I'd like to advise you that I'm not on a Nishringadev role right tonight at all. A very mellow role.
You're all the way down in New Zealand? What's her name?
Panchali.
Panchali.
Panchali's in New Zealand?
Yeah, New Zealand, yeah.
I don't see your picture face though.
She's doing 10 things at once.
Oh,
Yes, Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Panchali, those pictures of the prasadam that you offered are mind-boggling. Shall I say world class? If it wasn't for COVID, I would have jumped on an airplane before the just got cold. And it would have had
How
some.
come you don't see their face?
Thank you,
showing
Narayan.
the video.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Oh, I see. They're like on a phone or something.
Unbelievably good. So in the end, you're going to be able to please Krishna completely, because that sort of dish will please Krishna. I will guarantee it to you.
Can you,
We make an offer. We never know if Krishna's going to accept it or not. And I'm just trying to put my thumb on the scale and say, those offerings, Krishna will, I guarantee Krishna will accept. You know, what's
you
not
can
to?
say, I'm just going to change headphones.
Okay. Prabhu, you were talking about Sudama, Prabhu?
Who, what?
Sudama, he said, talking about Sudama.
Sudama. So anyhow, I got Sudama to shave his head.
He joined in New York.
No, San
Los
Francisco.
Angeles.
Where did he join?
He joined in San Francisco.
Oh, yeah.
He'd been riding around on Ken Kesey's bus.
In the what?
He was riding around on Ken Kesey's bus,
Oh,
sort of a school bus or something, a municipal bus. And the
right.
destination, you know what it said on the destination of his bus?
What?
Further.
Further?
Yeah, FURTHER.
Hi.
Further.
Yeah, that's the old hippies. That we were all hippies back then.
Well, naturally.
Oh, that's getting
the happies.
hippie. That's what Prabhupada said. What did he say? I've come to, why are you here? I've come to change the hippies into happies. Was that it?
Yes. Yes. So Sudama would be on the bus. And of course, everybody in the bus was stoned on acid or something of that sort. And he was lying there, and there was a bookshelf on the side of the bus where he was lying with his eyes bugged out, staring forward. He picked up the
Monica,
happened to be
that
one
work.
on the Srila Bhagavatam.
I can't hear anyone telling.
What are you trying to do?
Prabhupada's Bhagavatam was there.
Why
And he
you,
started reading it. And so when he got to San Francisco, he started checking out the temple. Then when he heard that Prabhupada was on his way to come there in 1968, he moved into the temple. But he had such a huge afro. He's a very short guy. But he had such a huge afro that when he stood in a doorway, a Victorian doorway in San Francisco, his hair touched both sides of the doorway, plus the top.
Sudama?
Hair was sticking out like 1.5 feet in every direction.
You're talking about Sudama.
Yes.
That's pretty amazing.
I'm standing in the doorway looking like that, blocking all the light with his hair. And I said, Sudama, are you going to get initiated? He said, what do you mean? I said, Prabhupada's here. Do you want to take initiation? He said, oh, well, when? I said, how about tomorrow? He said, okay, I'll think about it. I said, okay, but if you want to think about it, first shave your head. And that's the first time we discovered there was a human being underneath all that hair.
That's amazing.
So he got, I think, the same day I did.
Yeah, well, Lord Chaitanya, a devotee in LA told me that Lord Chaitanya came to save the most fallen, and that's us.
Well, I mean, there are even more fallen, but I mean, because we were middle class fallen, but there's poor fallen and desperate fallen, and consider. Have you ever thought that Lord Chaitanya came to deliver the maggots?
No, the most fallen, the most fallen.
Is there anything more fallen in your experience than a maggot eating dead flesh?
I don't know.
Well, think about it.
That's pretty low.
Well, but did Lord Chaitanya come to deliver the maggot?
I don't know the story.
The story, He came to deliver every living entity,
Right, yeah, right.
not just a bunch of puppets.
I can't hear them, Control.
Just
stop talking.
plants. Lord Chaitanya comes to deliver the grass, the trees, plants, the animals.
Well, do you know Sudama's memory? You know, the memories.
Yeah.
Sudama said that Prabhupada told him, if you think you're becoming advanced, you will go mad.
What?
If you think you're becoming advanced, like I'm a great devotee, I'm advanced, then you will go mad, go crazy.
Mad, crazy?
Yeah.
I mean-
In other words, if I think, oh, I'm a guru, now I think I'm going to be a guru, then you go mad.
Yeah.
In other words, the real devotees are always, you always have to, you have to remain humble and don't start getting pumped up thinking you're advanced.
If you preach to humans, they may want to become gurus. But if you preach to the trees and the grass and the flowers and animals, you will make pure devotees. Because anybody who hears the holy name of Krishna once will go back to Godhead eventually.
I don't know where Prabhupada says that, but it's certainly
Lord-
beneficial to hear it.
Lord Chaitanya says it.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. So
Okay.
that's why we chant Hare Krishna out loud and not simply greedily try to become gurus in the temple.
It just certainly affects everyone around when you're chanting.
And someone's always around. Can you imagine how many living entities are living inside of your body right now?
Yeah, right.
How about on your skin? All the little, what do you call those things creeping out of your pores, eating the dead skin?
Bacteria.
Well, doesn't it?
They're all making advancement by your chanting.
Sure. Well, doesn't it say, doesn't it?
The Goswamis are very conscious of that. And so when you chant, be aware that all over your body, there are entities that are going to hear the holy name. And you need to chant a lot because most of them will die in half an hour, you know. So chanting the fresh ones and the other ones, but wherever you chant, they will go back to Godhead.
Well, I think, doesn't it say when you do?
This lifetime, they will go back to Godhead when they have given up their material sense of life, when they no
Right.
longer identify with the material body. But everyone who hears the holy name of Krishna will get a chance to become a human being.
Well, doesn't it also say that when you do Sankirtan or you chant, I don't know if it's on Sankirtan or what, but the sound goes around the planet a few times or something?
Who
There's
knows?
some quote like that. You know, that's Ronald?
If it goes 2 inches from your mouth and purifies a bunch of flies.
No, but I heard something to the effect that it actually travels around the planet a few times.
Well, I mean, the holy name of Krishna is transcendental.
So
So-
powerful.
Loka also, not just around the planet.
I think something like it, I can't remember the quote, goes around the planet, then goes to Krishna Loka, so I forget.
Well, it doesn't matter because when you chant, that's the thing. You don't have to, if a person chants Hare Krishna, they don't have to know what happens.
Right, but Prabhupada does say on that first record, the chanting Hare Krishna record, on the explanation of the Hare Krishna mantra, he explains how, you know, it's a transcendental, there's no need of any intellectual adjustment for chanting this Maha Mantra. And he says, we can see practically anyone can take part of this chanting without any previous qualification. And he says the chanting should be heard, however, from the lips of a pure devotee.
For full effect to be achieved.
Yeah, should live from a pure devotee for immediate effect to be achieved, and chanting from non-devotee.
As much as milk touched by the lips of a serpent
Right.
has poisonous effect.
So anyway, he's talking to the Beatles, Prabhupada tells them that the mantra has to be received through the proper channel to have pure all the potency. So we receive it from Prabhupada, we worship Prabhupada, we get potency. That,
Yes.
you know,
But there's no way to receive it from anywhere else anymore.
well, there never is anywhere else. It's a bona fide pariah, either you're connected or you're not.
Bunch of bogus Indian fake gurus, they may chant, and that's not a waste of your time to take it to become initiated by them. But if you hear Prabhupada, I mean, if people say, well, Prabhupada's not here anymore, how can we hear from Prabhupada? Do you have a cell phone? Can you tap into the internet? You
Right.
can hear Prabhupada chanting right now.
That's what I tell people. They say, oh, you're so lucky you saw Prabhupada. I said, hey, that was 50 years ago. If you plug in a movie, oh, now I remember. You know, my brain isn't perfect. Oh, yeah, you know, it's to say that he's not present is crazy. But on that thing, the point is, he says, chanting from the lips of non-devotee should be avoided.
Yes, but the thing is that by now, do you realize practically every utterance of the holy name of Krishna is a result of Prabhupada having chanted?
Yeah, of course. But
All over the place. Even these crazy people that poisoned Prabhupada, they were repeating the holy name. People were benefiting it from it.
okay. But you know, some kirtans that I hear, I don't like to hear them. They're not, you know,
I
they're
don't
not,
like it either, but it is still, the sound vibration came from Prabhupada.
Yes,
They're just
yes, Hare Krishna Prabhu, absolutely. Like, it doesn't matter who's chanting, even if we say that those are chanting that comes from the lips of a serpent, this is Mahaprabhu's reign. Like, we all need to chant, and we can't judge anyone. Like, we actually can't judge even the charges or
is
the
that
liquor charges.
very strong.
Like, who are we actually to judge? Like, isn't it better? Like, this is Mahaprabhu's reign. He sits here and he says, wherever you go, whoever you say, tell them about Krishna. This is how lucky we are. So actually, whether we see all of Iskcon chanting Hare Krishna under this guru or that guru, they're still chanting Hare Krishna. Like, isn't it, don't they have like some benefit from doing so?
So if you chant to the animal and birds, the human beings will automatically hear.
And also to the atoms in your walls in your home.
Is that
That's why we're advised to chant loudly. Like when we're chanting our japa, we need to chant loudly. So even the atoms benefit.
Who's talking?
Punctually.
I know, right. How come you're
Mataji, you
muted?
might,
China.
you may need to like change your audio device.
What's that? Somehow with that.
On the message.
Narayans.
Haribol!
The sound is messed up.
Haribol!
The sound is messed up.
You're incredibly here. Here. You hear Ryan? Join Ryan.
yeah, I know.
Join Ryan.
Yeah, I know.
Clearly.
Now you've got echo.
Clearly. You can or cannot? You can or
Can Ramchandra Prabhu make
What's your name, Conchally?
being
What's her
rolled
name?
down the stairs.
I muted her. She's causing too much disturbance.
No, well, you have to tell her that your audio is not good.
Her audio's, Panchali, your audio is not good. Only speak when you have a good microphone. Everything is being distorted when you speak.
It's too loud or something. You're too close to the speaker or the microphone.
You don't know what it is. I don't know.
Ramchandra Prabhu, you should make one more.
The whole problem is that she needs a clear connection and no speakerphone. Anyhow,
Narayan Prabhu, your mic is off.
Panchali always has something very worthwhile to hear, to speak. And nobody wants to miss what she says.
What's that?
No one wants to miss what Panchali says because every time she speaks, it's very clear and to the point.
Well, it wasn't a question of what she said. It was a question of the microphone. I couldn't understand
I
her.
want her to be on a clear sound so that we can hear what she says.
So maybe she needs to hang up and call back to get a better connection.
Who knows? But whatever it is, if she's on a speakerphone, that may be the problem.
Does she hear you saying that now?
Who knows?
you know,
Sure.
because we want to have a group, everyone should put in their 2 cents worth, you know, and let everybody, give everyone the respect
You're
of,
in the
you know,
driver's seat.
listening to what they say, you know.
So anyhow, do you get
Freedom of speech. We believe in freedom of
concentrating on
speech.
human beings for Iskcon is a perverted thing to do?
What's perverted?
Concentrating on human beings to hear the holy name. Perverted.
Does somebody hang up? It says waiting room. Ronald Singh.
China Ryan, did you hear what I said?
You're saying, I heard what you said.
Chanting only for human beings is a perverted thing to do.
Oh, you're supposed to chant for Krishna.
All living beings, regardless of species.
But you're supposed to be chanting to please Krishna. Oh God, please engage me in your service, right?
That's what the chanting says.
Right. But you're
Not
doing
what
it for
we're doing on
Krishna.
Sankirtan. On Sankirtan, we're making that sound vibration available to anyone who has the capacity of receiving the energy in the form of a vibration of the holy name.
Right, but
Even if it's an animal, or even if it's a bug or a germ or a maggot, that creature can absorb the sound vibration. Hey, Ramachandra, you look like you're ready to run a boat somewhere. What's happening?
Ron's he's trying to work, he's trying to hook in his cell phone to the
Can you get Panchali hooked up properly? It would be wonderful. Panchali, when she speaks, everyone should be quiet and hear what she says.
Yeah, I'd like to hear what she says. If she hear us, she could maybe hang up and call back. Sometimes, you know, you get bad connections.
Don't tell me that. Tell either Ramachandra or Panchali that.
I've told her that.
Yeah, I think it's also could be, like you said, speakerphone problem.
And what does Rupa Manjari have to say?
I hope she gets in and that her mic works.
Yes, where does she live? Where is she?
You have a suggestion.
She's in New Zealand.
Well, that's a long way away. But I know when I call from across the country, sometimes I have to hang up and call back.
In New Zealand, and I have no difficulty having a clear conversation.
So what is this coming through on the internet?
She said, I can hear everyone have better headphones and mic.
I don't have any headphones.
Well, she's talking about herself, I think.
Whatever works, but it needs to not be sounding like somebody's shaking a piece of sheet metal.
Are you there, Tina?
Put it this way. We all want to hear Panchali's words, and we can't if the soundbite doesn't come through. Is it only me, or does it?
Okay,
No.
Can you guys unblock Panchali so she can speak?
Yeah, that's what I want to do. And you, maybe Rupa, you talk to her.
I'm talking to her on Facebook Messenger.
Yes, I unblocked her because her speaking creates a disturbance on the whole.
Yeah, but
whole
you
right
unblock
now.
her, then we have to, how can we tell her that it's disturbing if you unblock her?
No, she can hear us. So
Is she blocked or unblocked?
She's unblocked. She can unmute herself now.
So leave it. You don't cut people off. I don't want to be rude and cut people.
Just be direct and to the point. Then there's no question of being rude.
You are muted, Janaran Prabhu.
No, you can't hear me?
There you
Oh,
go.
now we
Tina,
can.
Why are
okay.
you unmuting me all the time? Why you do that?
Hare Krishna.
You are again
Much
muted.
better.
Prabhu.
Is that Panchali?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna is much better.
Yeah, much better.
Not loud enough, but much better.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Janaran Prabhu is again muted.
Mahaprabhu.
Finally. Hare Krishna.
Haribo.
Haribol.
Haribol.
So Panchali, if you're there, then why not say what you were saying? Because it sounded great, but nobody could understand it.
Yes, just give me a moment. I'm gonna unjoin and then rejoin now that I have better headphones.
You sound much better, but a little too quiet.
Who was that?
She said she's going to leave and come back.
Well, but she sounded fine then. She didn't need to leave.
Let her do what she wants to do. She may have something, an idea.
She sounded just perfectly fine then. We should have said, no, don't leave. You've got the problem figured out.
Whatever, let's let her do what she's going to do. So the point that I'm trying to get across, Jainaran, is we're not trying to impress human beings to chant Hare Krishna. Why? Because you impress a human being to chant Hare Krishna, they'll still remain ikanistadakari, they'll still identify with their body, right?
Yeah.
I mean, do you know a single devotee in Iskcon that doesn't identify with his body?
A single devotee that identifies with his body?
That doesn't.
Oh, hey, well, we're on the Bali platform. It's 27 layers of covering, I believe.
Whatever. But well, there's no layers of covering if you're speaking as spirit soul. Covering means I believe in the covering. If you stop believing in the covering, then you can be yourself.
Yeah, well, the point is we're very deeply entrenched in the material energy for millions of years, and there's 27 layers to get out of it. So everyone thinks they're this body. That's why we're here.
Why think of your body? Do you like thinking that you're your body?
Well, we don't have much choice. The false ego's there, Hong Kong.
Choice is the only thing, China, right? Choice is the only thing we do have.
Well, we're not pure enough to be
Obviously,
talking on the spiritual platform.
Doesn't matter what platform. Choice is choice. You can choose whatever you like. If you want
Well, I
choose,
can't choose to instantly be
if you want
Krishna.
to choose the body, then go right ahead and choose it. You can have it. It can be a body if you want. If you want to be spirit soul, choose I'm Aham Brahmasmi. I am pure spirit soul. You don't have to identify with your body unless you want to. Now, if you really, really want to identify with your body, God bless you. No one can stop you.
Well, Prabhupada, you can become God conscious within a second, but that's if you fully surrender. But since we're not surrendered, we are on the bodily platform.
Becoming God conscious and not identifying with your body are two different dimensions.
Well, I don't know what you mean by that.
What I mean is that you don't have to be completely God conscious to be aware that you're not your body.
Well, yeah, well, I think everybody's pretty much on the bodily concept, and we're relating to the body as ourselves.
Do you know why they're on the bodily concept level?
Because we've been here for millions of years on the bodily concept.
Oh, that's just habit. No,
It's hard to change.
That's not immediate desire is what gives us bodily consciousness.
Yeah.
We are choosing to be bodily conscious now. Here and now. We don't have to, but we prefer to be bodily conscious. Then we make all those excuses. Oh, it's been so many billions of lives, or in 1 second you can surrender to Krishna. So what? You don't have to be bodily conscious unless you really like being in your present body.
Well, that's where we're all at, aren't we?
What?
That's where we are. That's what our consciousness is. We're all attached to our bodies.
I'm not an automobile. I'm not a car.
But
I'm the driver, and I have a car.
But you are attached to your body, otherwise you wouldn't be here.
No, you're not attached to your body. There's no way to attach spirit.
You're not attached to your body?
Your energy. Material
Hare
energy cannot
Krishna.
be attached.
What's that?
Material energy, spiritual energy cannot be actually attached to material energy. It's
Right.
impossible.
Okay.
It's all a question of preference.
Hmm. Well,
If you prefer,
somebody was trying to speak. Someone was trying to speak.
you know what I say to people that have attached to their bodies, like you're talking about? You know what I would say? Get back to me in 20 years and see how attached you are to the same body. Are you still going to be attached to the same body in 20 years? Do you think?
Were we attached to it like 100 years ago?
So why not give up the attachment now while you're in this body instead of waiting till you're in a different body?
Well, that's the idea of Krishna consciousness, is to become purified, to get out of the bodily attachment.
If you're attached to your body, I guarantee you're going to get another body.
Right. Well,
You want another body?
no, I'm trying to say that the way to get away from the attachment is to do the Prabhupada's Krishna consciousness program.
The way to do it is to recognize Aham Brahmasmi. I am not my body. I am spirit soul.
Yes, intellectually we can understand that, but to
Oh,
realize it's a different deal.
Do you think it's only an intellectual idea?
No, it's a factual idea that we can understand, but I'm
Why
not
not go
realized of it. If
Accept the fact that you're not this body.
I accept it, but that doesn't mean I'm seeing
No,
God. I'm in my
Don't say
spiritual
but.
form.
You say yes, but means lock your handcuffs, yes, and then you say but, and you snap them shut again.
Yes, I'm not this body, but I'm not realized of it, or I'd be seeing Krishna.
No, that's not true.
I'm not self-realized.
Krishna is everywhere, though. How can
Right.
you say that you're not seeing Krishna?
Krishna consciousness
Krishna
is
is
not.
everywhere.
You will not just because you can be Brahman
Krishna.
soul without being completely Krishna conscious.
She said that Krishna's everywhere.
Adhimadikari is a
Yes,
person
Krishna is
is
everywhere.
bridge between Kanistadikari and Uttamadikari. Obviously, that's a transition between matter and spirit. You don't have to automatically attach with your body, simply been doing it for so many years.
Narayan.
Yes,
Panchali says that Krishna is everywhere. You can see him everywhere.
yes, why not? Prabhupada said that. We were in New Vrindavan and we were sitting. Do you know that photograph, black and white photograph, Petit Udaran is in it? And Pradyumna's wife is in it. And Prabhupada's sitting at a little table with sticks, firewood sticks for legs on a hillside. You've seen the
Yeah,
picture.
yeah, I know the picture you're talking about.
Well, remind Jai Narayan of what it's like. I don't know how to describe it.
I think you described it pretty well.
Do you remember the photograph, Jai Narayan?
No, it doesn't matter.
Arundhati? Why do you mean it doesn't matter? It's Prabhupada.
Yeah,
To me, Prabhupada matters.
no, but the photo, what's the point of what you're talking about,
The
the
point-
photo?
Well, first of all, the point is that I made the table that he was sitting.
Oh,
sense.
okay.
The
That's-
other is Arundhati, Patita Pavana, and all those people were around. And Prabhupada is sitting there, and people said, "Oh, Prabhupada, can you see Krishna wherever you are?" That's what you were talking about, isn't it?
Yeah, and Krishna's everywhere, just like she said, but I can't see him. I'm not on that level.
Above defecate
Hare-
from. We're not
Hare
talking about
Krishna
us.
Prabhus.
We are talking about Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, go ahead.
So
Okay, so there's this conversation. It was brilliant, and Prabhupada was giving kirtan. He was giving a lecture, and some of his disciples came up to him and he says,
I wish I
"We
could understand.
can't see Krishna," and he was like, "What? You don't see Brahma? You don't see Balaram?" And like this is Prabhupada's vision. So he sees Krishna everywhere. And that's because we're in the reign of Mahaprabhu, who's so
Could you translate?
merciful.
I understand what she's saying.
Yes, but you don't interrupt.
What is she saying?
I couldn't get the end of it. She could repeat it.
What did she say up until the point you lost track?
Okay, so there was this great lecture. So can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Rupa, can you?
Srila
I want to hear what she says. I can't hear it. It's too far away.
He's talking too much.
Can you quote what she's saying?
I don't. I can hear her.
I've been waiting all this time to hear Panchali. Rupa, can you?
He
help
said
me?
that they asked Prabhupada if he could see Krishna everywhere. Isn't that right?
Yes.
And what did he say? You can't see. He said, "Well, you can't see."
You can't see Lord Brahma. You can't see Balaram. And this was when he was like giving a lecture in a temple, and he was sitting there and he could see everyone around him. So the whole point is that this is Mahaprabhu's reign. Patita Pavana, most merciful. So all this politics, all this, that, the other, it does not matter. Like Prabhupada is our link, our current link to the parampara. So why are we fighting over all this?
Why are we what?
It does not make any sense to be debating everything that's going on when Srila Prabhupada, he's our current link to our parampara. We're in Mahaprabhu's reign. And right now, all we need to be doing is following the 4 regulated principles and chanting Hare Krishna.
Rupa, can you?
That's right. What she says is we shouldn't be arguing. We should be following the principles and chanting Hare Krishna.
Okay, but I was trying to give a description of that photograph.
Let her finish. Let her finish, Narnarayan.
Well, I was in
Under the guidance of Srila Prabhupada, who is our current link.
Correct. You got it.
So
100%.
we're not going to change Iskcon. Like, we're not. There's just so many like discrepancies, so many battles. It's been like 50 plus years since Prabhupada physically left. So my idea, and in my home, is that I have my dailies. I'm chanting, I'm reading, I'm following the 4 regs, and I don't care what Iskcon's doing right now.
That's right.
It's only going to last, like Prabhupada said that in the next 9,000, well, back then he said 10,000 years, but let's go back. So we're going 9,400 and something years. There's going to be no more chanting Hare Krishna.
Rupa Manjari, could you help? I'd like to be part of the conversation.
Okay, well, what she said was that Prabhupada's the current link. She doesn't care what all is going on with all the politics, that Iskcon's not going to change. It's been they've been making offenses to Prabhupada.
Iskcon has not existed since 1970.
Yeah, but I'm trying to tell you what she said.
Okay.
She said Iskcon, and you threw me off now. She said that Iskcon has been,
It hasn't changed.
Go ahead.
Rupa Manjari would do it because she knows Panchali extremely well.
I can hear her. I could hear what she was saying.
Thank you, Prabhu.
But you're not Rupa Manjari, are you?
I agree with what you said, everything you said.
I didn't ask you. I asked Rupa Manjari.
He said it. He said what she said.
I'm trying to tell you what she says, but you keep talking.
Can you say it again so I can understand it from you?
Okay.
I can't understand it from Jaina Rand. He believes his body.
Basically, that Iskcon is not redeemable.
Right.
It's
Iskcon
fatally flawed.
Yes.
That's right.
Our job.
And Prabhupada said
this website, this Zoom call is to create Iskcon for the first time as of 1970 and before.
But what she's
has not existed after 1970, okay?
But nothing's changed. It's been 50-something years. Nothing is changing. So now what we need to do is take shelter of Mahaprabhu, take shelter of Prabhupada, who's our current leader of Parampara.
And
And the next
I was-
9,400 and something years, there's going to be no more chanting Hare Krishna.
yeah, but we can't ignore
Now we need to do
Prabhupada's
that.
desire.
No, Ryan doesn't listen very
Deliver
well,
that.
just like me.
He might not be able to hear me properly.
We can't ignore Prabhupada's desire to deliver the fallen souls.
That's not what she
Oh,
said.
No, absolutely. No, I heard Narayan. So
No,
Prabhupada also said,
It is
this is
it
Mahaprabhu's
has not existed since
and
1970.
upon Iskcon
No,
is
no,
the
no, Ryan,
We
keep
should try to
talking.
accept
of
that.
No, Ryan, I can't hear because you're talking.
Yeah, I'm talking. I was in the middle of telling a story, in fact.
Well, you have, I think us Narayans, there's Jai Narayan, Nara, we both like to talk a lot. That's my problem. I talk too much.
Get to finish the story. It was about seeing Krishna everywhere.
No, but I'm trying to tell you what she's saying. She was making the point that Iskcon's been,
I asked you to make that point. I asked Rupa Manjari to do it.
Oh, can Rupa
okay,
Dede, can you hear me, honey?
Yes, I can hear you.
yeah, we hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that we go back like 5 or 10 minutes ago where I was saying like Krishna's everywhere, we can see him everywhere. Yes, that's okay. But what I'm talking about right now is that I'm going from a lecture where Prabhupada was asked directly about.
You're going from a what?
I'm going directly from a conversation
Oh,
where
okay.
Prabhupada was asked directly what is going to happen to the Hare Krishna movement.
Okay, read
Okay,
it.
let me play it back. Narayan, Prabhupada
Yeah.
was asked what was going to happen to the Hare Krishna movement.
He what?
He was asked what was going to happen to the Hare Krishna movement.
And she's going to give the answer.
What did he say?
Yes.
Go ahead.
He said, after 10,000 years, but we can take that now as about 9,400 and something years.
What did Prabhupada say?
No more chanting Hare Krishna.
So no, repeat that, please. What he was asked, what will happen to the Hare Krishna movement? What was his answer?
He said that after 10,000 years, so this was like, he was going back a wee while. So we're looking now at about 9,450 years. A
Right.
little past, that there will be no more chanting Hare Krishna.
So he didn't really say immediately what will happen to Iskcon. He just said that this movement will go on until the 10,000 year period is up. That's what he was saying.
And
We
listen,
know that.
Listen, please.
But in order
He
for the
also
movement to
said-
go on, we have to rescue it from the
Yes.
people that stole it in 1970.
And he also said, upon this movement is the benediction of Mahaprabhu.
Say that again.
We're going to win.
He said, upon this movement is the benediction of Mahaprabhu.
The autonomous movement, the what movement?
Upon this movement,
Upon this movement is the benediction of Lord Chaitanya.
yes,
All right.
and no one can defeat his benediction.
No one can what?
Defeat Mahaprabhu's benediction.
No one can stop it.
Yes. So
Right.
for the next 9,500 years, the chanting of Hare Krishna will continue.
Right. No one can check it.
No one can check it.
Not
Right.
even members of Iskcon.
And this is why Prabhupada implemented the Grihastha ashram and setting up temples at home, because he knew that the movement was going to be destroyed from the inside out.
So therefore he wanted the householders to do Nam
From
Hatha.
the inside out.
Yes, Prabhu. He wanted the householders.
Nam Hatha.
Rupa,
Yes.
what
yes.
did you say it's going to be? What did Prabhupada say is going to destroy from the inside out?
I didn't catch it.
Yeah, say that again. Was it Panchali? Panchali?
Yeah,
Panchali
Panchali.
Devi. Say that again.
he said that the movement will be destroyed from the inside out.
Right.
Now, I have all
Hold on.
Prabhupada's
Hold on, let me
conversations-
Let her finish. Let her finish.
Yeah, so I have all Prabhupada's conversation books,
Right.
and I've read them probably about 4 or 5 times over. And he did say that Iskcon would be ruined from the inside out.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it has been.
And I can
And-
take a photo. I can reference it.
It was destroyed 52 years ago.
Yeah, let her finish.
Absolutely. It was so it wasn't destroyed when Prabhupada left in 1977.
It was
It was
destroyed.
starting to be
years
destroyed
ago.
in 1969,
Fortunately, we're
way back.
No, what happened was there was politics going on, but Prabhupada was keeping it in check until 77. Then it became rampant. So there was
it was
people were all worshiping Prabhupada up until 77. There was no other, all the food was offered to Prabhupada, the books weren't changed. So there were some leaders, GBC.
that's your material view, but that's
Yes,
not what
Not a
I'm
material view, that's a fact. Everybody worshiped Prabhupada before
Material
77.
view.
No, you're actually right. You're actually right. Like people were coming in and they were wanting to take position. It was all under PAD, proper adoration distinction. And they thought that Prabhupada was this little old man, and basically they just didn't really care.
But that's a minority. That's a small amount of the devotees.
It was a majority. That's why Iskcon is going off like it is now, because it was a majority.
I don't know about that, but I do know that, that the leaders deviated for sure. And actually what happened was when they deviated in 77, a lot of the nice devotees moved out.
1970.
No, Hare Krishna Prabhu, they were deviating from 1969. They were deviating from 1969. There was a conversation where Tamal Krishna told Prabhupada he was just a fragile old man.
Yeah, that was one particular person said that.
That's Tamal Krishna. That was one of
Yeah, he said that, but most of the devotees didn't feel that way.
That's why most of the devotees
doesn't
left.
matter.
Left.
Nobody ever got to experience Iskcon as a reality.
No, what I'm saying is the leaders made some offenses, and so people said some crazy things, but most of Prabhupada's disciples didn't feel he was some old man or anything.
Oh,
They still love Prabhupada and honor him like we all
They
do.
did.
yes.
They still love Jesus
Why-
also.
So why do we have the likes of Jai Dwaiter who say to us that we can't chant pranams and say that Jai Prabhupada in temple?
Yeah, I
Why
know.
is he screwing his nose up? Why is he changing his books? Like, why is this going on? Like, we've got to look at these things, Prabhu. Like, I'm no one. I read the books. I've read them so much and I see so many discrepancies. It breaks my heart. I'm sentimental. So I'm just like, this is not okay. Prabhupada came to the West. He set a standard, and it's such an easy standard to follow. Follow the 4 regular principles, chant Hare Krishna, and away we go. We're so fortunate. Everything in his books is what's going to take us to actually take to Godhead. And people are saying now that books are enough, or Prabhupada's not here, he's dead. He says it's so disrespectful.
He is
But
here.
in my own opinion, I'm over it. I'm setting up my home. It's my little Grihastha ashram. I'm chanting, I'm worshiping my daddies, I'm reading the books. I'm so sick of all the politics, and I just want to stick to what Prabhupada said.
No, you figured it out. That's 100% right, Panjali.
I
Okay.
don't know if I figured it out. I just think,
Don't worry about the other people. Just, we have a connection with Prabhupada that no one can take away.
that's right. And Naranarayan, he taught me that.
No, Prabhupada has a contract with us nobody can take away.
However you want to look at it, it's no one can stop me from being Krishna conscious. The only person in my way is myself.
Bunch of atheism.
What did you say, Panchali?
I said, absolutely, you're right. No one can stop me from being Krishna conscious, only myself.
Yeah. The only person holding me back is me.
But
Oh, yes.
Prabhupada,
But unfortunately,
It was Naranarayan and Rup Manjari that actually showed me this.
Well, there you go. Well, then that's all glories to their service. That's because they're speaking the truth. They told you the truth.
Now, can I say something at this
Yeah,
point?
yeah. Go ahead.
May I say something at this point?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. This Krishna consciousness movement began with Prabhupada chanting. He gave directions. Until they are following, Krishna consciousness movement will not have begun. You can't begin a movement in disobedience to a pure devotee that descends from Krishna Loka, because Krishna Loka is where Krishna lives, and Krishna sent Prabhupada, gave him every word to speak, gave him every rule to follow, created the direction of management so that GBC would deliver the whole world, help deliver the whole world without being unelected. Until that comes into effect, we're not going to begin the Hare Krishna movement. Give up on what people have done in the past. They're just fiddling around with themselves. No, what we need now is to begin the Krishna consciousness movement from the outset, meaning starting symbolically in 1970, and from that point onward, elected GBC, that would make a huge difference. Gurus can be appointed by unelected corporate board members like GBC. So no more gurus. Anybody's a senior devotee can act like a guru if he wants, meaning that he knows more than the guy that walked in the door. He should preach nicely without demanding a seat to sit on and a bunch of fancy food and garlands. He should just be a devotee and help the person walking in the door become Krishna conscious by hearing Prabhupada, not hearing him misquoting Prabhupada. Okay? Any disagreement, John Ryan?
That's the ideal. That's the ideal, but they're not following it. They're not following that ideal. So what can you do? And the lady's Panchali is frustrated talking about that. She says the Iskcon has deviated for 35 years or whatever, and that I have no control over what they do. I can only control what I do.
Otherwise, we're not getting anywhere. Iskcon has not yet come into existence.
Okay, then well, you can argue that way if you like.
That chit chat about what this got, that Iskcon, this guru, that guru has nothing to do with Iskcon, because Iskcon begins and ends with Prabhupada, and Prabhupada did not authorize any of this nonsense.
Well,
we have to go back to 1970 and before.
Yes, we can completely respect what you're saying, but my whole point is
Iskcon must
let her say something. Let Panchali speak.
My whole point is that it's not going to change. It hasn't changed, and it's not since 1970.
What is it?
Iskcon.
What's it, China? Right?
It is Iskcon.
Iskcon.
There is no Iskcon. Erase the word Iskcon. It doesn't exist. Now we're starting with this.
Maharaj, can I ask you a question? Do you think in the next 20 years,
a dead horse?
Do you think?
Let her talk, Narayan. Let her talk.
Do you think in the next 20 years? Sorry.
So what is the way forward, Panchali Prabhu?
Who are you asking a question to, and what is the question?
My question is to Naranarayan.
Okay, what's the question?
So we go back to 1969, where Prabhupada's disciples were already plotting to try and take over the Iskcon. I'll just say movement, the Iskcon movement. Can you honestly say that from 1969 right up to 2022, we have made any change?
But trying to understand, it's the minority that were plotting. Not all of Prabhupada's disciples were plotting. That's just a few. That's a few leaders. There's 5,000 disciples. It was the minority leaders that made trouble.
How could the leaders do anything without the support of the followers?
Well, the followers didn't know that was going on. Like I lived in Santa Barbara. I wasn't
Followers
aware of
never
any of
know what's
that.
going on.
I didn't know it. I wasn't aware of any of that going on.
Every time you have Hitler, there's followers just go there because he's supposed to be followed.
I
So
agree.
people follow the leaders does not give them Iskcon. It doesn't make it Iskcon. It shouldn't even be called Iskcon. It should be called Take the Movement Away from Prabhupada and see who wants to follow that.
Your point, Narayana, is that the followers need to be vigilant when the leaders deviate. The followers are supposed to rise up and be vigilant, just like in America when they take away our rights and our freedom of speech. We're supposed to stand up.
Followers.
But you can't say that you can't say that all of Prabhupada's disciples were plotting against him. No, some of them were.
They weren't plotting. They
No,
were
that's why
acting.
so many left when Prabhupada physically departed, because they couldn't bow down to the God brothers, knowing where they actually came from.
That's right. When Prabhupada passed away, many of the bona fide disciples moved out of away from Iskcon because they could see it had deviated.
Chit chat. What about the fact that anybody who followed the Jainaran,
Yeah.
anyone who followed the unelected GBC is complicit because they were following somebody that was not elected.
Yeah.
If you want to follow a false leader, you become false by following him.
No, everyone is implicated if they don't speak against it. I agree.
Not
But if they're not aware of it, like I wasn't
we're
aware.
talking about against. We're talking about living the truth.
Okay, so can we address karma then in this instance?
Can we increase what?
Karma. Can we look at karma?
Okay.
What did she say, Rupa?
No, it's partially. Can we look at karma then?
Can Panchali agree that what we need to do is follow Prabhupada now and not dwell upon how many disobedient people there were leading and following more disobedient people all over the world?
That's right. Well, that's what she said, actually. She said that I've accepted Prabhupada as the current link, and I'm going to chant, follow the principles and chant. And that's exactly what she said. Independently, she can worship Prabhupada and go back to Godhead. You don't need anybody else to help you go. All you need is Prabhupada.
Yes, and he even says in his books that all you need is my books. Everything.
Okay, can you do that without an elected?
I can't hear her, Narayan. You keep talking.
Yes, because I have something to say.
Okay, Hare Krishna. No, all respects.
Wait a minute. Let me ask you a question.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
May I ask you a question?
Don't get angry, Panchali. Stay there.
Can you?
You're not leaving, are you?
No, it's fine. Let Narayan speak.
Okay. I just didn't want you to hang up or anything.
No, I won't.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Go ahead, Narayan.
Okay. Can you recreate this Iskcon movement without returning to Prabhupada's original instructions?
The definition of Iskcon is to follow his instructions. That's the definition. It's not some building. It's not some group of people. It's if you follow what he says, then you're Iskcon.
What?
The definition of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness is to follow Prabhupada's instructions and chant and follow the regulated principles. And that is the real Iskcon. The real Iskcon is anyone who knows Prabhupada's the current link, like Panchali said, and chants and follows him.
Anyone who followed Prabhupada?
Huh?
Have you ever met anyone who actually followed Prabhupada?
Well, we're talking about the philosophy that Iskcon, I'm saying that Iskcon means to follow and repeat what Prabhupada says without change. And that's why you and Rupa preached to Panchali. She understood it because you were preaching the truth as Prabhupada says it. When you speak the truth as Prabhupada says it, then it has effect. If you speak lies, it has no effect.
Absolutely. If it wasn't for Rupa Manjari and Narayan, I'd probably be drinking the bathing water of the Iskcon Guru.
Yeah, so but the reason it had the reason it had effect is because they told you the truth without change. They told you what Prabhupada said without any deviation, correct?
Yes.
And that's why if something's given pure, then it has potency. If something's been tainted and impure, it has no potency.
So that's my dilemma, Prabhu. My dilemma is that, like, I don't see Iskcon changing anytime in the near future. I do have faith, like I said before, because Prabhupada said upon this movement is the benediction of Mahaprabhu. So my idea or ideal is that who can defeat the benediction of Mahaprabhu? No one can. So I do have faith in Iskcon. I do believe that it can change, providing that they centre Prabhupada and they accept him as our current link to our parampara. There's not going to be another guru that is bona fide or authorized within the Iskcon movement other than Srila Prabhupada. And it gets me so fired up because I'm wondering, why are all these Iskcon gurus, these sannyasis, these GBCs, the followers, the disciples, the congregation, why are they so upset that we are trying to say, hey, take shelter of Prabhupada? Like, what is the problem?
The problem is when you make offenses to Prabhupada, then a veil comes over that you don't know the truth. If
So
you
let's
want,
look at the 10 offenses. So let's look at the first offense in chanting the holy name. Let's go through the offenses.
Can we agree that we have no one to blame but ourselves?
Absolutely. That's, yes.
yeah, I agree with that.
Thank you. If we have no one to blame but ourselves, then no one can.
Devotees blasphemed from the majority of Iskcon for trying to tell others to take shelter of
There is
Prabhupada.
none.
Because they're offenders. You're trying to preach to offenders. You can't get through to them. They make offenses to Prabhupada and they don't want the truth. You consciously wanted the truth. You wanted the truth, so Krishna guided you. You listened to Rupa and Narnarayan, and you received the truth because you wanted the truth.
It's supposed to not complain about other people, but to rectify the situation and create the standard by which 10,000 years will be delivered by Prabhupada. It's not here for whining about what happened in the past.
No, but she asked, why is it that the people in Iskcon don't want to just understand the simple truth?
If you want me to stay on the Zoom call, stop calling whatever's going on out there Iskcon. It's not.
Well, I'm just trying to tell you what Panchali was saying. Just telling you what she was saying.
Calling those thieves and rascals and murderers Iskcon offends me. Do you
Well,
want to? I'll get off the call.
Well, don't get angry,
no.
Normal.
Can you ask?
I agree. I just don't like to call something by the wrong name.
I don't know what you're upset about. I was just trying to tell her what she thought.
Just don't
She
mention
said.
it as part of it.
I was trying to tell you what she said, Narnarayan, that's
What did
all.
you say?
She was curious why the people in Iskcon won't accept the simple truth that Prabhupada is the bona fide link and the bona fide guru. And I said, that's because they don't want the truth, number one. And they're also that they're because of their offenses to Prabhupada. You're saying Prabhupada's dead. You have to have living, all these offenses. You become an operati. Therefore, a cloud surrounds you. You got a dark cloud of operati offenses covering your whole consciousness.
Okay,
How are you going to hear the truth?
How long will that last?
I don't know. I don't know the answers to that.
Okay. Will these same people doing this?
Can we look at Sastra? Let's refer to Sastra. Okay, so
Now let Narnarayan speak a minute, okay, Panchali?
No.
Hare Krishna.
And then I'll let you speak.
Okay, trying to.
Go ahead, Narnarayan.
Will these people be doing the same thing 50 years from now? The same people you're complaining about, will they be doing the same thing, saying
They'll
the
be
same
dead.
50
They'll be
years
dead.
from now?
They'll be dead.
I'm not complaining about them. Anyway, Panchali was.
Will they be alive or will they be dead?
They'll
No.
be dead.
So what's the point?
Yes. And Jainaran likes to
If
believe.
followers will be alive.
So you think that it's all about your body, but it's not. It's
Well,
about
I think Panchali, was that you that said their followers will be alive?
What?
Someone
Yeah, their
said,
disciples
oh,
will be
they
alive.
might be dead, but their followers will be alive, spewing the same poison.
And they're the majority.
Who
And what?
cares? Who cares?
That's my point exactly.
How
Like, who cares?
only
We
way
just like,
to
if
solve
we
the
just,
problem is to have an elected GBC.
but it's not happening. It's meant to be elected every 3 years. Hasn't been elected for like properly, according to the DOM, hasn't been elected for 47.
What if we're not our body?
years. So what does it matter? Iskcon is all about profit, adoration, and distinction. That's all they care
You-
about.
I see a clear solution. Does anyone else see a clear solution?
Yes,
I see a clear solution.
and forget
Who-
about
What is that
A
solution?
clear solution.
And what is that?
The clear solution is to not criticize people that have made a total mess out of what they call Iskcon. The clear solution is to go back to Prabhupada's original teaching, codify it, and then begin to preach from it and attract all the people that are sick and tired of the Iskcon situation and the Iskcon gurus and all that stuff, and bring them into Prabhupada's movement.
That's right. So that's the same thing.
Question of belly aching. And I'm not in the mood for belly aching.
No, that's the same thing Socrates said. Socrates said, instead of trying to fix the old, put your effort into building the new. So we need to start a real Prabhupada movement. That's what Prabhupada did. What
Okay.
happened when his godbrothers? Let me finish. Let me say something, Narayana. When Prabhupada's Bhaktisiddhanta did his disappearing act, Prabhupada's godbrothers deviated and pretended to be gurus, just like in Iskcon. And what did Prabhupada do? He went out and started a movement that was a genuine movement. The Gaudiya Math was genuine up until they deviated and started to be guru. So we need to start our own movement, like you.
No, our own. You mean us, our bodies?
No, we need to start a genuine Prabhupada movement that's following Prabhupada's
Prabhupada
instructions.
started a genuine Prabhupada movement. All we need to do is not reject it.
And if you look at Prabhupada's teachings, like through all his books, his lectures,
Do we
his
reject
morning
Prabhupada's
walk,
movement, or we
everything, Prabhupada speaks
Prabhupada's-
about his godbrothers probably about 4% of his whole time.
Less than that.
He didn't even have time for it.
Good
Like
point.
he
That's
did a-
right. Did you hear what Panchali said?
He
What-
did a
Listen.
So Prabhupada spent probably, I'm saying, just running off about 4% of his time talking about his godbrothers. He did a Vyasa Puja where it was so deep, like anyone with half a brain would have realized what he was saying, and then he left it. He came to the West under the instruction of his guru. He started the Hare Krishna movement as our founder Acharya, and this is what we're meant to be following. Now, as we can see, from like 1969, majority of Prabhupada's disciples had plotted against him. When Prabhupada physically left, they plotted worse. It wasn't even 2 months and they were declaring themselves gurus. That's why the majority of the God brothers and sisters left. And now today, here we are going on Facebook, going on any media that we can, going fully against Iskcon and what they're doing.
I can't understand what you said.
We haven't taken into heart what Prabhupada said. And this is Mahaprabhu's movement. This is his benediction. So if we just follow what Mahaprabhu says, what Prabhupada says, then we have a guaranteed ticket back to Godhead. We've spent 47 plus years trying to teach others, show them the way, but majority of us were the advocates. We're considered like offenders. So stuff it. Like if people don't want to listen, that's on them. So I just say that we need to take care of ourselves. We need to take care of our wives, our husbands, our mothers, our fathers, our children, our grandchildren. And we just need to take shelter of Prabhupada, via his books, via instructions, and then we're gone. No more taking birth. And this is Mahaprabhu's mercy. Petita Pavana.
So it means back to Prabhupada.
Absolutely.
So what she's trying to say too is be positive.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Prabhupada talked about his godbrothers less than 1%. You look at all,
Bodily conception.
if you look at all of Prabhupada's writings, it's thousands of words, thousands of books. He mentions a few places about his godbrothers to warn us. He says, I don't wish to talk about my godbrothers, but he does so to warn us how they deviated.
That's why
listen,
prior
our
to him passing
to
away,
Iskcon
conversation with Narayana.
for the first time in history.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear it all.
Jainaran, I mean, what are we going to do? Go around biting our tails?
No, I'm just trying to get a conversation with Panchali, and I was just saying that she was saying that Prabhupada didn't talk about his godbrothers a lot. He wasn't negative. It's positive. We're positive. We chant, be happy, tell people, like I meet people that don't know anything about the Hare Krishnas. I give them a Prabhupada letter.
Brothers,
We're both talking at once.
we don't need to be related to our godbrothers. We need to be related to our spiritual master.
Right. I'm just saying that we need to be positive. Forget about all the negative people. Prabhupada was positive. He came here and started preaching to innocent people. The Madhyamadakari avoids the envious and preaches to the innocent.
Material solutions.
The solution is Madhyamadakari avoids the envious.
Positive and negative are both material calculations. We need the absolute.
No.
Can I
Not
ask you all to do just one thing?
Okay.
the
Okay.
Supreme
Well,
Personality.
Panchali wants to say something.
Can you all do
She's
one
been
thing?
saying a lot,
Let her say something.
but I can't understand what she's saying.
Well, we'll repeat it back to you.
Can you all do one thing?
Yes.
Can you go onto a new tab?
A new what?
Just open up a new tab on your laptop or your phone or something. Just open a new tab.
A new tab?
Just do that.
What does that mean?
Like a new internet browser.
Yeah. Go to a new internet browser.
I don't know how to do that.
Oh,
What
Why,
do we have to do?
why do you want to
That
open
new
another
tab?
tab?
because whenever you type in Srila Prabhupada or the Hare Krishna movement, all you are seeing is murder, money laundering, pedophilia, child abuse, woman assault. That's what we're getting from Iskcon now.
Yeah.
So when even anyone jumps on and wants to inquire about the Hare Krishna movement, they're seeing all the negative.
Well, yeah,
So
that's right. They've
So do we-
destroyed the reputation, completely destroyed Iskcon's reputation because they're deviated.
There is no Iskcon.
So
There
right
is-
now, us in this moment, we are so fortunate.
Can we
like,
agree that
we've got
Iskcon
to
does
see
not exist after
that
1970?
we're blessed. And we've got to, like, Iskcon isn't going to listen, but we already know what it is. So shouldn't we just actually take care of ourselves?
Can we agree that Iskcon did not exist after 1970?
Yeah, but when we say Iskcon, Narnarayan, we're meaning the proper buildings and the GBC and the gurus. They're not really Iskcon, but they have a facade of it. So we're talking about the movement as it is today.
Why are we dwelling on the stool when we can be looking at the lotus flowers?
No,
Wait.
absolutely. I'm not saying that. Like, we should be like the little bee looking for the nectar.
You got this place.
But what I'm saying,
So credit.
is that when we go onto the
Time to
internet,
devalue the GBC that stole Iskcon. You just never experienced anything but the bogus Iskcon.
Well, I don't know what everyone's experience is.
GBC, they told him to sit tight and translate so that they could distribute the books that he wrote, and they would run Iskcon. They've been doing it ever since.
they're not even
The
distributing
problem
proper.
that he was running Iskcon, he was not. He was trying to save Iskcon from those people. And he did. He was able to build a large number of temples. He was able to establish Kanista Adhikari platforms in those temples for people to take shelter. Any Iskcon temple with or without bogus gurus in it is a shelter against taking birth as an animal in your next life. if you follow the four regulative principles and worship the deity, you're going to benefit. Our job is not to try to fix the broken. Ours is try to establish the unbroken as the standard. And that means Prabhupada as he is, not making a bunch of excuses for those bad people. Look, if you want me to make a long story short, the short version of all of this is when we get Iskcon established with the DBC, with the direction of management at its core, on writing, on website, in our this Zoom call, we created the term the League for 10,000 years. That means we're not thinking about today, yesterday, day before yesterday, or tomorrow. We're thinking about the end of the golden age of Kali. What will it take us to bring Prabhupada to the end of the golden age of Kali without all of this horrible crap we've all had to put up with? And that's why I don't want to talk about him. I don't want to talk about Iskcon. I don't want to talk about GBC. I don't want to talk about gurus. It's simply a way of self-inflicted pain. I want to talk about what will it take to make Iskcon a viable vehicle for people 5,000 years from now.
So, should
Even
we
1,000 years.
be conscious or should we be Krishna conscious?
What's that?
1,000 years from now,
Should we be,
and not pollute our brain.
Wait a minute, I can't hear what she says, Narnarayan.
Why?
should we be
What I'm saying.
should we be GBC conscious or Krishna conscious?
What was the first part?
Should we be GBC or
We may change
Iskcon
the
Guru
topic right now.
concept?
We are not going anywhere.
What are you saying? What did she say?
Yeah, she's just saying, should we be, what you said, should we be conscious of the bogus people or Krishna conscious of
The
Prabhupada?
same thing you are
That's-
saying.
Can we agree? Can we, in this group right here of complainers, can we agree that what we
Oh,
want?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, come on. Not complaining. Just being like logical.
You're the supposedly, I don't know where Ramachandra went to, but if
He
you're
hung up.
reading,
We got hung up, right?
tell me, are you in favor of us, the League for 10K, creating a standard for Iskcon that will be viable 5,000 years from now?
We can't change Iskcon. They're doing what they're doing.
If we are
What
not,
I'm in favor of is that Prabhupada says
You can
Is-
change. No.
you're chanting Hare Krishna purely
What?
following four regular.
Iskcon 5,000 years from now.
It doesn't matter, bro. I'm not going to be
Real
there.
Iskcon. Do we want Prabhupada's movement 5,000 years from now? Yes or no? China Ryan, what about you? Do you want
Yes, but
5,000 years from now? Or
I heard Panchali say what she said before, and actually Prabhupada has a quote like that. I don't have it verbatim, but he says, when the spiritual master does his disappearing act and leaves, there's naturally turmoil in the movement. And the way, and a bona fide disciple or a genuine disciple, sincere disciple counteracts that by strictly following, by being more strict, by following the spiritual master's instructions more strictly. So what Panchali is saying is absolutely correct. You follow the principles, chant, read Prabhupada's books, and don't worry about all those other guys.
a whole encyclopedia.
When
Can
the
you-
charger leaves, chaos
Let her say
enters.
something.
When the charger leaves, chaos enters.
Well, ask Panchali. Do you want
And then,
Go ahead, Panchali.
considered 5,000 years from now?
Prabhu, in all respect, I really hope I'm not around in the next 500 years.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, don't worry, Panchali. I think you got it all figured out really well myself. I think you've got Narnarayan and Rupa Manjari. You listen to them and you're doing 1,000%.
Prabhupada
Yeah.
perfectly 5,000 years from now. What the
Yeah, they're both my Shiksha gurus.
yes? No. China Ryan, yes or no?
I don't know. I couldn't hear you, Narayana. What happens is you have trouble hearing her
change the
because
topic,
I think the hearing problem,
I
you
want
know,
to hear two words, yes or no?
I didn't hear what you said. I'm trying to talk to her and then you're talking, so it makes it
Do you
difficult.
want me to stop talking altogether?
No. I don't want to offend anybody.
Okay,
I'll stop talking.
I am asking a simple question. Is anyone have enough guts to answer it?
Go ahead, ask the question and we'll answer it.
Do you want Iskcon to be fully manifested and representing Prabhupada perfectly 5,000 years from now?
Yes.
Yeah or no?
Of course, yes. It's an yes. Obvious yes, Haribol.
Maybe.
Yes, we agree, but Panchali said, I hope I'm not here 5,000 years from now anymore.
How many
She
people
says she
said
hopes
yes?
she's back in the spiritual world by then.
How many people said yes?
Isn't that right?
Yes, absolutely. I'd love to see Iskcon taking shelter of Prabhupada.
Well, the real Iskcon is to take shelter of Prabhupada and follow him. There is no building. It's not a building. It's called the Krishna consciousness.
For a group called Iskcon to deliver the fallen souls without the criminals in charge of it.
Right.
John.
Yeah, thank you. Finally, we have a bit of agreement.
I think we all understand it's simple that
No, you don't understand anything. If you understood, I would be happy right now.
well, anyway,
Haribol.
You
one
can't
thing's
see-
for sure, we all have our own opinions, right?
Narayan Prabhu is in full form.
I'm
What's
saying
that?
5,000 years. What? Okay, let me ask you a different question.
Okay.
What do you want to see happening in 5,000 years?
Well, you said the answer to that was what you said before, is that, or maybe it was Rupa
Not me.
Manjari, that Lord Chaitanya, the movement cannot be checked. I think it was Panchali.
Don't give me bullshit.
It's not bullshitting you. No matter whatever you or I do, we should do our best to correct the problem, but it's going to go on no matter what anybody does.
It's dodgy answer. What do you want Iskcon to be in 5,000 years?
That everyone's under the shelter of Srila Guru and Garanga.
Right. That's right.
What do you want Iskcon to be in 5,000 years?
Repeat, under the shelter of Guru and Garanga.
Did you hear what she said?
No.
She said she wants everyone to be under the shelter of Guru and Garanga, Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya.
Well, fine. Thank you. Now, our job as the League of 10K is to make that happen now so that in 5,000 years, it'll be there.
So we need to cooperate and try to start a bona fide.
Rant or what?
Well, there's no, the frustration everybody feels is we understand the philosophy, worship Prabhupada, but there's no place to go. All the temples have been like stolen. They've been, abducted.
I tried
And
to say
you
something.
can't, there's no place to come together and worship as a family.
No, don't give this whole material thing. Can I offer a thought?
Yeah, sure.
If we establish the standard, particularly the GBC being elected,
Yeah.
so we had that earlier conversation about how the temples will all get opened, but unlimitedly. There should be right now hundreds of thousands of temples in the last 52 years.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. But it was stopped by the GBC wanting to control a few temples rather than opening a lot of temples over they had zero control.
Yes, prophet.
So anyhow, that was then. This is now. Now, my question is,
What's your question?
I'm trying to remember what my question was.
Well, the answer is Prabhupada. The answers are in Prabhupada's books.
What's the question?
That's the answer to any question.
Do I have your permission to speak?
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Okay, I'm going to speak right now. Okay, what I'm going to say is, if we set the standard up, particularly with the elected GBC, and make it clear in Shastra on a website that that's what we're building that website, that is what we're going to do and what we're going to mandate, then all the people that are in Iskcon that are completely annoyed, disappointed, and cheated feeling will read what we're writing and they'll say, sure, we want that, not what we're being given. At that point, they will start moving towards not giving up Iskcon temples, but saying we want the direction of management in our Iskcon temple. We want the spirit Prabhupada to be the spiritual master in our Iskcon temple. They're just human beings, and they're being led around by the nose and other body parts. Do you see that we have the ultimate power, which is truth? Truth is the ultimate power, not bitching and complaining.
Yeah, can I say something, Narayan?
No, you can respond to my statement.
I
Then
just,
say,
just one comment. The problem is that
Can you-
they're not allowing open discussion. There's no discussion allowed to those people.
oh,
Huh?
do you agree with my point?
I
Yes.
agree 100%. The problem is, how do you tell them anything? They don't want to hear it and they won't allow you to speak. It's like a communist place. They don't allow freedom of speech.
In writing.
Exactly.
I've been handing out Prabhupada's letters at Iskcon temples for back in the 90s all over the place.
It
And I
wasn't-
realized what she said is sort of right. I try to preach to the innocent people. When I go to the store and I meet people, I give them the Prabhupada letters. I don't go to Iskcon because they're not going to hear it.
The League for 10K, you have solved the problem by what you have done, right?
I've solved the problem.
You're saying you did.
I'm not saying I've solved any problem. I'm just saying that I was thinking I could straighten Iskcon out back in the 90s, hoping that we could
You
reform
did
it.
in the right way.
I was hoping we could straighten it out, and we still might be able to straighten out Iskcon
There
because
might be one more way that's
Oh,
possible.
no, Jaina
Yeah,
Ryan,
let the Prabhu speak for a second, Narayan. Go ahead.
Jaina Ryan
like,
believes that he's.
Wait a minute. Let
lifetime.
Narayan finish. What?
So what about the point I made? Can you see the distinction?
I agree with your point.
Okay.
Hold on. Vinayak wanted to say something.
Yeah, let him say something, Narayan.
Sorry, Narayan Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Please accept my humble.
So Prabhu, like one thing I was saying that we know that about your plans about making a guideline for Iskcon and having it on a website. But I was also thinking about one thing because in India I have seen this thing that most of the people in India, new people who are coming into Iskcon, they don't know about what actually Prabhupada wanted about the initiations and functions of Iskcon. Most of them believe whatever they are told inside the temple. And when these things about the initiations or Prabhupada initiation systems or Ritvik initiations, they are told,
Good.
they usually have a propaganda that there are some disciples of Jayapataka Maharaj who wanted to have a powerful position and they occupied some properties of Iskcon and concocted this philosophy of Ritvik system. Because not many initial disciples of Prabhupada are active on social media, and not many initial disciples of Prabhupada are vocal to tell about their opinion on what Prabhupada wanted. So what we can do is we can take the opinion of initial disciples of Prabhupada and publicize it to.
Let him finish. Let him finish.
Satisfied are they right now?
Let him finish, Narayan.
I have a question.
Well, let him finish.
I heard what he said, and I know.
No, he didn't finish. He wasn't finished.
He did finish, actually.
Vinayak Haribol. Vinayak Prabhu, go ahead. First finish and then we can answer. Yeah.
Just 1 second. Sorry, Narayan Prabhu. Just 1 second more.
No problem.
Yeah,
Prabhu.
the solution is that if we can get the testimonials of initial disciples of Srila Prabhupada about their opinion on what Prabhupada wanted, then the new people in Iskcon could be given awareness about what exactly Prabhupada wanted. Because new people in Iskcon are following whatever they are being told in temples. They don't know the actual desire of Prabhupada.
But I have a question, Vinayak Prabhu.
And
Are they satisfied?
Yes, Prabhu.
Are they happy and satisfied?
What's that?
Haribol, I have a answer to this.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Are they happy and satisfied?
Bruce, no, no one is satisfied. They are being involved into some
Happiness
corporate
comes.
politics.
Let
Yeah.
Don Ryan, this other devotee wants to give an answer to Vinayak.
Okay.
Haribol. So what is happening in India is they are getting into corporate politics, right? So
Right.
taking donations and taking all of this money, and then Guru Maya is coming. They're coming under the fame of Guru. They're
Yeah.
not getting the original thing. So they are frustrated after a certain of years, 2 years, after 2, 3 years, they get frustrated out of this. They
Yes.
don't get that. They don't get that gem, which is given only by Prabhupada. So what they
Correct.
do is, but forcefully they are attached with the temple. I mean deities.
That's different topic,
Like
Mohit Prabhu. We were talking a different thing.
John,
Sorry.
no, you're
But
saying
this is-
the same thing, no?
No. It was
But-
different. I'm talking like.
that's
I'm
exactly right.
Yeah.
The point
Go
is,
ahead.
we
Go
have
ahead,
to,
Vinayak Prabhu, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt you.
is
Yeah.
there any source
Go
of
ahead. Well,
except Krishna?
why don't we let those two Prabhus talk a little, Don Ryan? They're trying to converse a little.
Go ahead, Vinayak Prabhu. What was your
Go ahead,
question? You were
Vinayak.
saying, no, some guru followers are there and then they get into
No,
the
I
trap.
just
You were saying this,
finished
no?
my part. Like Narayan Prabhu was giving the answer. Sorry.
Or are they satisfied?
Let him give it. Yeah.
Narayan Prabhu, please. You were speaking.
Are they satisfied?
No, they are not. Satisfaction comes like when we are spiritually advanced enough.
Exactly.
When you follow Prabhupada, then you're satisfied.
Yes.
Exactly. Simple words, right? Just follow Prabhupada. Yeah.
Otherwise,
So-
you're not going to be satisfied because it's bogus.
Right. Point. We create a platform that will give them that satisfaction, and they will have a choice between that group or Hindu group or whatever sort of group and Prabhupada. But right now they have no choice because the Iskcon group has become a Hindu group all by itself.
That's what he was saying, that they don't know the information that Prabhupada wanted to give
Okay.
on initiatives. And the problem is there's no open discussion allowed. I mean, I've been,
We have
Yes.
a forum for discussing this intelligently. It's called a Zoom call for the League for 10K. We happen to be
Prabhu-
on it. And
But
this
Prabhu, in India,
for
you'll
10K
be thrown out
is
of the temple.
determining how to present the satisfaction that Prabhupada was delivering with all the garbage of what happened here and what happened there. We want the original source satisfaction that Prabhupada gave and why people wanted to follow him in the early days. They
Yeah,
felt
they think that they are following Prabhupada. They think that following their guru is following Prabhupada.
but what if we give them a contrast?
Yeah, their gurus will say that you are envious of them because of their success.
that's exactly right, Vinayak.
They want to be.
That's exactly right. But that sense of, what do we call it? The purity they won't get. No, they'll get frustrated. Then they'll read a Prabhupada book again.
Yeah,
right?
but at conditional
have-
stage, they are not going to detect whether they are pure or not.
Can I say
Prabhu?
something? Let me
Yes,
just say
Yeah,
one
yeah,
thing.
go ahead.
Please.
Let me say one
Yeah.
thing. Now, if someone is sincere, like Panchali,
Exactly.
if you're sincere in your heart and you want the truth, Krishna will guide you to the truth and you'll get it.
Exactly.
And the fact, and the only reason people know anything about Ritvik is myself and other godbrothers had a large, back in the 90s, there was a large effort to make this information known all over the planet by people handing out papers and books. And that's why the word Ritvik's even known about. I didn't hear about the word Ritvik till 1990 or 89, and I joined in 70. So it was 20 years I was around before I heard that. I was fortunate enough to know that Prabhupada was the one to worship.
I call Ritvik a representative Acharya. That's Prabhupada.
Officiating.
Yeah, officiating Acharya.
Officiating Acharya.
Officiating
Devotee.
Acharya.
I am not a devotee of Tamal.
Now, it all comes back to not allowing open discussion. Now, we're having a discussion here, but in Iskcon, I just have a letter from a lady in England. A real nice Mataji in England wrote that there's different camps, the Narayan camp, Ritvik camp, she was saying, but Iskcon does not allow any open discussion at all.
The spiritual form.
No, Narayan, I'm trying to say something.
Of spiritual conversation, it has to be a camp.
I'm just trying to say that Iskcon proper at the temples, I've been kicked out of practically every Iskcon temple on the planet I've been to, handing out Prabhupada's letters. Prabhupada's letters about initiation and about book changes. So they don't allow any open discussion is the problem. So if someone's sincere, like Panchali, and she comes and she goes online, everyone's sincere and reads Prabhupada's books, and they get frustrated because they're being lied to and they've been poisoned is the problem. But if they're sincere, Krishna will guide them to the truth.
Why do we
Point blank on target. Exactly.
Is that
This is the point.
We're actually concentrating on the truth, not lies.
What did you say, Prabhu?
Why are you talking about lies? Let's
What did
talk
you
about
say?
truth.
What's the other man's name?
Vinayak.
What did you say there?
If you speak about Prabhu's place within Iskcon, if you speak about the Ritvik Jagya or Ritvik initiation, you are banned from Iskcon and considered no longer a good standing member.
That's right, because they're all envious snakes. So you're a Prabhupada man, they're envious of Prabhupada, they're envious of Prabhupada bhaktas, they're envious.
Why are you talking all this negative stuff?
I'm just answering the question that she asked. People are talking in the Vinayak Dicey said he was talking about in India, they have a problem that the new devotees don't know, the new devotees in India don't know the truth and they're frustrated. So
Sorry,
I answered.
Sorry, Prabhu.
Go ahead.
Name one person that understands the truth.
I have an answer to this, bro.
Let the man speak, Narayan, okay? I'll be quiet and let him speak.
To be simple and clear to Vinayak Prabhu's answer, if someone is chanting purely, he's doing quality chanting, Krishna will automatically guide him towards purity.
If you're sincere.
Will guide him if you are sincere.
That's
a
right.
simple thing.
And if we are not
going for politics, if they're going for festivals and just chatter and chatter and being into the politics, that's their call. Right? If they're not reading Prabhupada books properly, not chanting properly, this will happen to them.
That's right.
There are still
It's a simple
sincere
thing.
devotees out there.
Mohit Prabhu, may I ask you a question?
Yeah, bro, go ahead. Go
As far as I'm
ahead.
concerned, what you just said is the essence of what I've been trying to represent and say.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, go ahead. Mhm.
So, do you feel that on this platform of the League for 10K, that we can create an atmosphere in which Prabhupada's truth can emerge without complaining, Ritvik this, GBC that, Iskcon that, and just vomiting all this negativity? Can we concentrate on creating the truth so that these people that you're mentioning can be delivered?
Of course, we can do that. I mean, we can just read the Prabhupada pure books which he has written, pure scriptures which he has written.
Platform right now against that idea.
I believe everyone has the right to speak whatever they feel like speaking and to clarify whatever doubts we have. We're having a free, open discussion and respectful, try to respect each other and listen to each other. Otherwise,
we can
respect Krishna.
Prabhu, we can take pure scriptures, the scriptures which can touch our heart, specifically written by Prabhupada. We can read them and make people understand this is the real essence, which their gurus are just faking it very badly, right? They're making themselves a pure guru and then they are not, right? Simple.
That's right. Speak the truth.
Wait, Mohit Prabhu, people will see for themselves what is true when they're given the choice between gold and plastic.
If they want the truth, that's if they want the truth.
If they want to get cheated, that's their problem, right?
That's right. If they want to be cheated, it's a verse in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna has been fulfilling everyone's desires from time immemorial. If you desire millions of dollars, sooner or later you get it. Whatever you desire the truth, you want to learn about the truth, you'll get it.
You want to go into Maya, go ahead, right? That's no problem.
What's that?
Trying to Ryan into this belief of accepting the truth and not dealing with the lies.
Bro, I was saying if you want to go into Maya, that's your problem.
Yeah, but that's very hard-hearted thing, Prabhu. You need to be compassionate to reveal the truth to them.
Oh, Prabhu, at the end of the day, Krishna has nothing to do with this material energy.
We
He's
got
like,
enough.
nothing
Please come
to do
again.
with that.
More.
Can you be a bit louder? Hello, Mataji, can you be a bit
Mataji, your
louder?
audio system is really terrible today.
Yes, yes. Please be please be loud. Please, please.
Okay.
Our
Okay.
goal is to speak as
Krishna,
this platform.
Krishna.
Our goal is not to offer opinions, but to speak as spirit soul.
Okay.
But first, you have to
Krishna
believe
has
in heart
nothing.
before you can do that.
Let Panchali speak, Narayan, please.
Mataji, can you join again? Can you join again and
Go ahead, we're listening.
Krishna has nothing to do with this material energy.
ma'am, please
With-
join
with
again.
what?
Mataji, please join
Totally
again.
adore it. Has nothing to do with this material energy. So how can we sit here and say Krishna this, Krishna that? He has nothing to do with this material energy. We read in Prabhupada's books where Prabhupada says, oh, not a blade of grass moves without the sanction of Krishna. But Krishna's eternally enjoying. He's enjoying the gopis, he's enjoying with the gopas. Like, he doesn't want anything to do with us. And that's when Yoga Maya comes in. So how can we actually sit here and say Krishna, 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 when this is Mahaprabhu's movement? Like, there's a difference. Like, is there not? And if we look at India and how they're all confused about what Prabhupada wants, this is what Prabhupada's godbrothers like fought Prabhupada over, because he didn't believe that us from the West could come to the East and like preach Krishna Katha properly. And now we're like, look at the temples in India, they're closing down everywhere. So my whole point in joining this conversation is that it doesn't matter anymore. Like, we need to think about ourselves. I'm 47, okay? And who knows, in the next 20 and 30 years, I'm going to be leaving this body and I want to go home. I don't want to come here anymore. Iskcon is the majority, they're not listening. And they are not the be-all and end-all. And I remember a conversation where Prabhupada said, this is not the only Iskcon. Actually, he was talking about Vishnujan. And he said that Krishna had built an Iskcon for him in Golok.
So
And this was the
somebody,
conversation.
maybe could Rupa Manjari sort of give a condensed version of what Panchali just said? They're very intense, and I respect Panchali with my whole heart. But Rupa Manjari,
I know, I'm in
essence
because
of what
I just don't want to be here anymore. Life's suffering. It's just suffer. All we do is suffer. So let's just chant Hare Krishna, take shelter of Srila Prabhupada. For the last 47 years, we've tried to convince the congregation of Iskcon to take shelter of Prabhupada. They're not listening. They want to take shelter of the Indrajumnas, the Jayapatakas, the Devamritas, all these other Iskcon, all these other so-called like Vajrayan gurus, but they're not laying to our prayer.
What
So
about
let's just
a
take
thousand years?
shelter.
What about 1,000
And
years?
it doesn't matter. Think about ourselves. It doesn't matter about 1,000 years from now, Prabhu. How old are you, Narayan? You're like your 60s.
I'm talking about
It
us.
is your time, Prabhu. You need to go home.
Okay. Does
Yeah,
anyone
us. We can't do it.
does anyone here think they should not be delivering the fallen soul?
5,450 years, there's going to be no more chanting Hare Krishna.
Could I ask a question of the group? Jainaranji?
I'm not in charge. We're just trying to communicate with Panchali, and I feel her frustration. But you have. I just want to say one thing, Narayan, before you say something. Can I say something?
Ask a question of the group.
No, I want to just make a comment now, please. The comment is that a Madhyamadikari is supposed to preach to the innocent, avoid the envious. And so what happens is we get frustrated trying to preach to Iskcon people because they're envious. So the proper platform for a preacher is to go to the innocent people, and which I try to do now. Going to Iskcons are like beating your head against the wall It's actually nam aparad, like Prabhupada says, to
We're
speak.
trying to create a platform that's a general solution.
The solution is to preach to anyone you meet and give them Prabhupada and that aren't poisoned and envious.
Okay.
There's millions of souls in the world that don't know anything about Iskcon, and you can meet them everywhere you go every day, and you can give them the positive truth, and it'll have some effect on the right ones.
At some point, may I ask a group of
This is
questions?
the Iskcon philosophy. So they preach Mahaprabhu. So Mahaprabhu says, wherever you go, whoever you meet, tell them about Krishna.
Exactly.
Tell them.
May I
Tell
ask-
them.
What's that?
So what is telling them? That's acting in the capacity of a Shiksha guru. Prabhupada says even a child could act.
He's
So
what?
us as Ritvik advocates.
Oh, she is just saying that even a child can preach Krishna consciousness.
That's right.
About Krishna.
One
Yes.
question.
So
Preach to the innocent, preach to the innocent, avoid the envious. And there's millions and millions of innocents.
In Prabhupada's teachings, he says even a Kanishta or a Majjhim Adhikari, he can act as guru, but we must understand they can only take us so far.
That's right.
Therefore, we must accept the Uttama Adhikari as our way back home.
That's right.
So
We all understand that.
Adhikari, he is mentioned in our parampara. 32 Uttama Adhikaris recognized in the last 5,000 years. Now, since Prabhupada physically left, we have 87 so-called Uttama Adhikaris that can take us back to Godhead.
Yeah. Well, forget about them. Forget about them.
So right now, what we need to do is Iskcon is the majority. They're not listening.
Forget about them.
Yes, they're lining up. They're wanting to take the next position as guru or sannyas or whatever. So let's think about ourselves. Let's us in our little group, in our little Zoom chat, let's all help each other go back home because no one's listening. I want to go home. I don't want to take birth again. This is suffering. I don't want to be here anymore.
So forget about them.
Forget about them. Just leave them alone.
Forget
Just
about
leave
those
them alone.
people. Preach to the innocent.
And you know why? Because Prabhupada said upon this movement is the benediction of Mahaprabhu. So let's leave that and let's think about ourselves and let's get the hell out of here and go back home.
Yeah, but you have.
That's just what I say.
Mataji, why are we talking about them? Why are we talking about them? Just leave them alone. Just talk pure Prabhupada books. Talk, read Prabhupada videos.
Yes, the whole point, Prabhu, Prabhu, the whole point talking about
right on
them.
the topic.
Why are we talking about them? They are useless to us, right?
The question of the group. Well, are you going to grant me that opportunity?
I'm no one to grant you anything, Prabhu.
She's just voicing her frustration.
Well, punctually allow me to ask a question of the group.
Yeah, but Narayana, you have to understand that Panchali is just speaking her frustration with everything, and that's good to do. You don't want to hold it in. You're frustrated what they've done to Prabhupada's movement. I'm frustrated.
Haribol, everyone has their own frustrations, but they can't. I mean, if you're doing quality chanting, it doesn't matter to us, right? No.
Yeah, we need to forget about the negative and just preach Prabhupada. We should read a paragraph of Prabhupada's book and then comment.
May You're not going to.
I'll give you a quote from Prabhupada's books. Tell me, what book do you want to quote from? I've got them right before me.
Pull anyone out, anyone you want. They're all transcendental.
Actually, you guys,
Haribol, Jai.
we're actually way past time. It's 10:13.
So why don't you let her end? Let her end with just one sentence of Prabhupada or one paragraph.
Can you stop your egomania and let me ask a question?
Okay. Wherever you go, whoever you meet, tell them about Krishna.
A non-negative question.
Narayan, what's your quick question?
my quick question, well, if I get to ask a question, like make a quick statement, it'll be for hours, but let me just say, I respect Panchali, but my question is this. 1,000 years from now, or even 5,000 years from now, how many of the people on this Zoom call are going to be broadcasting the Hare Krishna mantra into every town and village and into the ear of every species? 5,000 years from now, how many are broadcasting Krishna consciousness?
We don't want to be here, Prabhu. Prabhu, we don't want to be here in material world. We'll be in Golok Dham, right? We don't want to be here.
I don't know the answer. I can't. I don't know the future, Narayan, but could we end the meeting with her reading a Prabhupada quote?
Narayan, can you ask each individual in this group, if you're going to be the leader, then lead. I would like an answer to the question.
I don't know the answer to what's going to happen in 5,000 years. I'm not Krishna. I'm just a poor little soul. How do I know what's going to happen in the future?
Will you desire to be here to deliver the fallen souls 5,000 years from now?
I believe in that quote that Panchali just said. It's a letter Prabhupada says that if there's any defects in our society, it's because my instructions are not being followed. And then he says, follow my instructions strictly and think of you. Let me just say a Prabhupada quote. We're arguing all this stuff. We need to get Prabhupada what Prabhupada says. And Panchali quoted it. He says in the letter that follow my instructions strictly and think of giving this gift of Krishna consciousness wherever you go, to whomever you meet. This is the advice of Lord Chaitanya. That's the quote in a letter.
And in chapter 2, chapter 4, 8, I learned Brahmana. The transcendental activities of the Lord are all wonderful. And they're inconceivable because even great endeavors by many learned scholars have still proved insufficient for understanding them.
That's a Prabhupada quote.
And may I ask Panchali a question? 5,000 years from now, would you be willing to be here to chant the holy name of the Lord so that everyone will hear it and go back to Godhead?
Prabhu, no one has that answer because we don't know we will be there or not. We desire to be, but it depends on Krishna.
Are you going to be? I've said, are you willing to be there?
Whether we're here, it doesn't matter whether we're here in the material world or the spiritual world, as long as we can serve Prabhupada, chant Hare Krishna.
Even if you're a pure devotee, would you be willing to stay 5,000 years ago to deliver the fallen souls?
Okay, let me say, so we can think about Lord Prabhupada.
You got my point, didn't you?
And
so in the next 5,000 years, like Prabhupada, you're a pure devotee like Prabhupada, would you be here to deliver the fallen souls? Or are you going to try to scamper off to Krishna Loka and start playing with gopis?
Yeah,
I don't have that level.
I'm going to scamper off to Krishna Loka and I'm going to hang out with
all glories to your service.
Kali, who becomes a devotee of Krishna, will be here until the end of the golden age of Kali, then go back with gazillions of jivas back to Krishna Loka.
So I have been told that
Prabhupada can do it.
So one is that he's always starting at the lotus feet of Sri Sri Radhakrishna, and the other is that he's eternally serving the message of Mahaprabhu. And Prabhupada even said that he was asked, where are you going to go when you leave your body? And he said, I'm going to Patala Loka. And he didn't even mind. He just wanted to give everyone the message of Mahaprabhu. So if I'm going to be greedy, then I want to get the hell out of here and I want to go back home. I don't want to come back here anymore. But if I'm sincere in my service, then bring me back as many times as
yes, Haribol, I'm there.
Haribol,
I'm there. Yeah.
Could somebody tell me what Panchali is saying? Because I can't hear it.
She says she wants to get out of the suffering.
What?
Go ahead, you answer.
Your name Mohit?
Yes, Haribol. Haribol. She was
No.
asking that she doesn't
more-
want to suffer here, right? She wants to go to Goluk Dham directly. So she's interrupting your question, like she's saying that I don't want to be here directly. She wants to go to Goluk Dham directly. No,
But
she
Prabhupada was
doesn't want to be.
I want to serve. I
doesn't
want
want
to
to.
serve Radha,
Are we- are we-
Lalita, Shri Vishaka. I want to help them enjoy with Krishna.
Why shouldn't we be
So
here? By the time we become devotees, wouldn't we desire to be here to deliver the fallen souls?
Pansali,
Be Uttamadakari.
She's so in love with Krishna that she doesn't want to preach more. She's saying I just
That's
want to go
fine.
to Krishna.
Okay.
well, I think she's going to be going there. Don't worry. You're on your way. You're
Jai.
on your way. Don't worry.
And why would Krishna want you back?
Who knows what we think about at the time of death? That's all that counts. And the last thing I want to be is GBC conscious, Iskcon conscious. I want to be Prabhupada conscious when I leave my body.
Yeah, just forget all that.
Like how
Forget
I'm
them.
taking birth in the womb of the Indian Swami's followers, or
Just forget about them. Read Prabhupada, forget them.
Yes.
Ryan, how come nobody is willing to answer my question?
I wasn't trying to ignore you. It's
No,
just
No,
we're all
what's-
getting tired.
Or you
Because
willing 5,000 years ago, even if you become a
For those
pure
who
to deliver the fallen
answer
souls?
Narayan and tell him yes,
Yes or no?
if I was actually humble and like a really sincere servant, then yes, I'll take birth after birth for the next 1,000 years and serve Prabhupada. But I'm too scared to do that because I just want to go home.
So don't worry about it.
Prabhupada's told me through the books that I can. So why do I want to come back here and
Back to
suffer?
Godhead is an internal matter, not an external matter.
And
exactly. Yeah.
Mahaprabhu's
Got it.
section is upon this movement for the next 5,000 years. So
Absolutely.
who am I to interrupt? Take me home.
Don't worry, you're on your way.
The question is,
Srila Prabhupada.
will we develop the quality of mercy, causeless mercy, so that we will want to stay here and deliver the fallen souls birth after birth for thousands of years?
We all have different desires. That's your desire, Narayan. She desires to go back to Godhead. So they'll both be fulfilled, I hope.
Your desire.
No, but
Narayan, what's your desire?
My desire is everybody here goes back to Godhead when they want to and never forgets Prabhupada. That's my desire.
Jai.
But what
Nemo.
All
Jai.
glories to Jana and Prabhu.
Willing to follow in
Haribol. Jai.
But what Narayan just said,
We have roads named.
that should be our desire because we were in Mahaprabhu's reign. He's so merciful. So like we should care for everybody else and try to take them back with us, So yeah,
So-
I think that's the proper mentality is that
You
we're
know-
meant to take birth, keep preaching. Ideally, that's what we should do.
Cool.
But I'm being greedy.
Master.
I don't want to preach anymore. I want to go home.
Don't worry
But
about it.
ideally, I understand.
So Narayan,
It's up to the spiritual master. What, and if you do that, Narayan, and the chance that you might want to follow in the footsteps of Prabhupada, where if he comes back to the material world, would you follow in his footsteps?
Mhm.
well, that's a silly question. Anyone that's intelligent will follow Prabhupada. Anyone with a
So
brain.
you're ready to take unlimited birth into material world until the end of the golden age of Kali.
If Prabhupada comes again, I'll be here. It's okay. I'll be with
Yeah.
Prabhupada. That's the
That-
point. If Prabhupada is coming back, anyone can be here. Oh.
Shanta Master. Very good, Mahi. Thank you. You see,
Be
he,
with him.
And what do you think about at the time of death? That's what you will attain.
so you're saying, Narayan, that you would be willing to come back birth after birth if that's what Prabhupada wants you to do.
The highest thing is that no matter whether you're in the material world or spiritual world, doesn't matter if you're engaged in serving the pure devotee in Krishna, You're
But
transcendental to wherever you are.
Spirit
But it's
devotee.
hard to get to that level.
Desire.
You don't let me finish. You don't let me speak, Narnarayan. I try to talk and
You're simply saying the same atheism over and over again.
not atheist. I'm saying
It
I'm
sounds-
saying that you're speaking from a high platform. The high platform is even when a devotee's
Yes.
even in hell, he's not in hell.
It's Aham Brahmasmi. I am not this body, I am spirit soul.
Well, Lord Chaitanya, it's one of the Shistakikas. Shistakic, what is it? Sikshastika?
Shikshastakam.
Yeah.
Shiksastika, he says, let me be, let you be, I want you to be my worshipable Lord, birth after birth, so we don't desire anything but to serve Krishna. That's the highest thing.
And serve Krishna here, will you do that?
Doesn't matter where you are, you serve Krishna, you're transcendental.
Would you be willing to come back to planet Earth and serve Prabhupada for the next 5,000 years?
If Prabhupada is coming, I'm willing to come back. I'm willing to come back if Prabhupada is coming.
That's right. He hasn't left.
Serving him is like pure
Huh?
bliss, guys. Serving him is pure bliss.
You're going to do. It's a question of willing to do.
He hasn't left. He's still here. I know people have had dreams of him. Not, you know, people, he's not left anywhere. He's here and in the spiritual world at the same time.
Most devotees are secondhand Christians. They want to die and go to heaven.
But okay, well, I want to die and go to bed.
We can go to heaven, but it won't take us so
You
far.
die, Go
We
to
can
bed.
fall
You go
from
to the-
We heard what you said, Consular.
What
So
is?
like Vrindavan is higher than heaven. We can go to the heavenly realms and enjoy with Indra.
Gee,
but
Prabhu,
at
I
the end of the
deepest
day,
regret I
the
have is I
heavenly
couldn't
realms
understand
we can still
the thing.
fall.
But your sound vibration was beautiful.
Mataji,
I think I'm going to go. I'm getting tired.
Oh, I'm
Is it,
sorry, Prabhu.
Can-
It's only 7 o'clock
Everybody's getting
in
tired.
the country.
I guess Mataji's internet issue is there. Something she speaks and then it is stopping in between. There's some mistake in her internet, I guess. Yeah.
Don't worry. I think we understood everything well. I understood what she said.
Very impressed by Mohichi. I'm very impressed by your realizations.
Thank
Very-
you very much. All goes to Srila Prabhupada.
You understood what nobody else on the platform understood.
Yeah, bro. All
right.
Krishna's mercy,
Hare
all
Krishna.
Prabhupada's mercy.
Thank you for your association. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Thank you very much.
Try not, we will not try to lead each other down a rabbit hole. Let's try to bring each other back to God.
Nice.
I hope you guys had fun. So
Krishna Ramachandra Prabhu, Hari Bol.
I'm so sorry.
It was like
I get
Brajvasi
fired up.
used to go street.
How come you weren't part of the conversation, Ramachandra?
He was standing here.
I was just watching and watching the fun, as they call it.
Fun.
Like us.
Hari Bol.
Like Bhakti Vinod Thakur said that once one person hears something, they will interpret according to their body and background and where they come from and this and that. So this was what kind of happened today, right?
Prabhu, you're
Hari
very
Bol.
smart. You're taking the
Materialistic.
nectar.
Can,
Very smart, Prabhu.
Prabhu, can I leave you with one quote from Prabhupada?
Lead.
Can I leave
So
you with
we
one?
can have spiritual conversation. We normally have transcendental conversations and very intelligent, progressive conversations. This was not one of those occasions.
It's always when I get involved. I'm sorry. But let me leave you with one thing.
Snarky
So, Chaitanya said in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he
conversation.
said,
Her internet issue is there, so we can't listen her properly now.
Tina, we cannot hear you properly. You have a bad connection. Next time, please get a better microphone, better internet connection. Make sure there's no background noise coming up because
I could hear her tone, but I couldn't hear her words.
yes.
Exactly. This is an issue. Just tell her to join again, no?
Anjali is one of the most beloved people in my life and in Rupa Manjari's life. So she can do no wrong.
Yeah. Jaya. All right, Prabhu. So tomorrow we'll have our meeting tomorrow. And then
Hari Bol.
I'll try to be the
Mahaprabhu, Jai, Mahaprabhu.
All right.
Take part, but he should not be in charge.
I'm sorry, I think I'm Brian Doss, so forgive
I'm
me.
not prepared for leadership under an atheistic point of view.
But forgive my offense. You're my elder godbrother, Narayan. All glories to your service.
God brother means God must be there.
Stop being so argumentative.
Cannot exist.
Stop being so argumentative.
Narayan Prabhu is in full form. He'll go to kill you, man.
Narayan, he's too intelligent. It's his problem. He's got too much intelligence.
Oh, he should be in charge.
No, Krishna's in charge.
Hare Krishna,
Eventually.
in the teachings of Chaitanya
If
Charitamrita.
Punch had a better microphone, she could be in charge.
Yeah.
Very in favor of people who identify completely with their body as though the body were the self. It's
If
just hard to
Mataji would be in charge, we have gone, Prabhu.
Enjoy
Her
your
microphone and internet is gone.
deal with it.
We need a referee.
We'll get killed.
Hare Krishna, Mahaprabhu says we should follow in the footsteps of Raghunath Bhattacharya. He
Jai.
never fault in anyone. He only saw that everyone was engaged in Krishna's service. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
All glories to Prabhupada.
Okay, Haribol, I'll end it here, Prabhus. Thank you very much for joining. I hope everyone had a good fun. So we'll again
And
tomorrow.
Are you going to be in charge of the session tomorrow?
Yes,
Ramachandra?
I'll keep my big nose out of it.
No, I'm going to be in charge.
Prabhu, you should.
Oh, no, Panchali's gonna be in charge.
No, I'm
No,
just
I don't
kidding.
want to get killed. I don't
I'm
want to
just
get killed.
kidding.
Please.
Panchali's in charge.
No, that's not possible.
Krishna is in charge.
That's not possible.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Krishna Narayan Prabhu. Haribol. Prabhu.
Rama Rama.
Dandavat pranam.
So
Okay,
Ramachandra,
Prabhus, I'll end it here. Thank you very much. We'll have another meeting tomorrow. I'll be in charge tomorrow, so hopefully it'll be better tomorrow. Hare Krishna. I'm ending it now. Haribol.
Good night, good day. Good night,
night.
good day.
Haribol.
Ramachandra